something that I see a lot is people actually stopping themselves, because when we start anything that we want to do, like, where do we get the information from on what we want to do? Like, we're looking to people that already are doing the thing, that make it look easy, the people that have already done the work, been in there quite a few miles, and a lot of the time it's what they do for a living. So that's what we compare ourselves to. And when we compare ourselves to someone that's already mastered the craft, we think it's going to be easy. And when we start something and it feels difficult, or we're a novice or a beginner in it and we start to slip up, we find it difficult, we start to judge ourselves. And then we start to judge the feelings that we're feeling as negative. Because when we judge our emotions, we're comparing it against what we perceive it should be, what we expect it should be, where we expect ourselves to be at. So we're creating unrealistic expectations and thinking that we should be 100%, or thinking that we should be perfect. And that stops us even starting. You are stopping yourself by thinking that you should already be starting at level 5 when you can only realistically be starting at level 1. And then you think that you need to be doing all these things, or what that person or what my day looks like is what your day should look like. But in reality, it isn't. It's just you need to meet yourself where you're at, get out of denial with where you're at, and realize, okay, I have to start slow. Like, we need to actually sit in the discomfort of our ego, because our ego wants us to go 500 miles an hour. But that's not realistic to allow ourselves to progress. We can't start at 500 miles an hour when we haven't even learnt how to drive the car down the road. So meet yourself where you're at so that you can move forward. Meet yourself where you're at so that you stop judging yourself based off your capabilities now. Because if you try to do it all at once, if you think it's all going to be sunshine and rainbows, if you think you're never going to fail, if you think that you're never going to struggle, if you think that you're going to look pretty silly sometimes to start with, you're going to keep judging yourself and then feeling negative about it. And that's when all that negative self-talk comes in. It's too hard. I'm not good enough. I've always been like this. Why isn't this moving faster? I want results in 12 weeks. And then we start to compare ourselves to before and afters that we see online. Because anyone can get those before and afters. Like, you can easily lose weight like that. You can easily crash diet like that. But usually only once in a lifetime. And then you're kind of skewing up your metabolism and your mental and hormonal and social health. And health is a holistic thing. It's social health. It's emotional health. It's mental health. It's physical health. How's your relationship with your food? How's your relationship with progress? How's your relationship with your body? How's your relationship with the scales? How's your relationship with all of this stuff? Because it's all fine and dandy in the moment. And I can relate to this too, because it's almost like, okay, when I was in a fat loss phase, this was a while ago, I'm seeing results pretty easily. I'm seeing new lines. I'm seeing new definition. I'm feeling really good. Because I told myself, I believed I felt really good. Because I based that feeling on how I was looking and how I was physically progressing. I was hungry as shit. I was craving food. If you looked at the Explore feed on my phone was full of food photos. I was craving all things under the sun. So, I was feeling fine. I want a bloody Lamington and a cinnamon scroll. So, that was my thoughts back then. We don't realize that shit in the moment. So then, when we come out of it, we can easily put ourselves back into it, because it's human nature to just remember the good parts. Oh, but I really lost weight on it. Oh, but I felt really good on it. Not really. But you tell yourself you felt really good on it because you based that feeling on what the scale said, on what your physical progress was. And that's why it can be so detrimental to put your value, your worth, your pass or fail your progress markers on numbers, on scales, especially in the gym, because I used to judge myself. I used to feel like shit. I used to message my coach saying, I can't believe I'm so weak. I can't believe I can't do this. What's wrong with me today? I used to beat myself up for missing a rep, especially when I was powerlifting. If I didn't get something that was planned, it's like, I'm going to fuck up. I'm never going to do good at comp. Are you sure that I'm going to get that weight that you think I'm going to get? Like, all these thoughts went through my mind. They're stories I told myself that weren't true, based on my feelings in that moment, based on what I was comparing myself into the moment. And then I judged myself based on those feelings. Thoughts and beliefs based on your perception of how you think it should be, how you think you should be in that moment, thinking it should be all fine and dandy, you're not going to fail. All that shit makes you judge yourself. No one judges you harder than you judge yourself. No one. And that's why when you go into the gym and you're worried about other people judging you, you're the one judging yourself. And in the end, why are you doing this for? And if you have a coach and you're feeling that way, why didn't you elicit your values with your coach on how this is going to improve your life, why being stuck where you are isn't going to progress you forwards? This isn't always the coach's fault either. I could easily say you need a new coach, but a lot of the time it's not. It's just that you aren't being real with yourself. I had a girl on with me for quite a few months, and it wasn't until yesterday that we had a conversation about her and her limiting beliefs. And that's because after watching a few posts in the group and a few things she used to comment on my posts in the group that I have, I decided to ask her a question. And then that stemmed a whole conversation. And at the end of it all, I'm like, so, can we have more conversations like this? She's like, yeah, I guess. I'm like, do you feel better after having it? She's like, I actually really do. Because I've never had the opportunity to talk about myself in that way before. I'm like, do you feel like these conversations can actually help you progress forwards? She said yes. And that's the shit we're missing. That is the stuff that we are missing as super glue for progress. Are you renting your results? Or are you owning them? Because you can rent them all you want, but every single time, the rent price is going to go up. Cost of living is going to go up. Inflation is going to go up. If you own the place, you just have to pay the mortgage, but it's yours. You're keeping it. Renting the place, you can easily get booed out. Own your results. Otherwise, you're just going to pay extra tax on something that isn't even yours. Honestly, the tax is the mental tax. You're paying a mental tax on the results that you're renting. Because it isn't going to last, and then at the end of it all, you're going to feel like shit. Your metabolism, your health, your hormones, they're going to be trashed. And then, what did you attach progress to? What was your means of success then? It was how you looked, it was the numbers on the scale. You don't know how your body actually feels. So then when you try to solve it, when you get help to get out of it, you're not committing to the long term, so then you flake. It's not always the coach's fault, and it's not always your fault. But you need to be willing to have that conversation. And if you don't have a coach, honestly, like, the cost, I used to say it's a privilege to have a coach, but now I'm seeing it as it's actually more of a cost to not have guidance. It doesn't have to be me, but it is really more of a cost and a burden to not, because the mental tax, losing out on relationships, time. And then I saw this really funny meme by Spencer Nadolski that said people are complaining about gas prices, but then they're willing to buy a $300 detox. So it's get real with where you are at right now and be willing to invest in the long game. Because otherwise you're going to keep spinning your wheels, you're going to keep feeling shit, and you're going to feel like it's always hard. You are always just trying to balance things out. You are trying to find balance all the time, and it never happens. You tell yourself it's going to happen tomorrow, but tomorrow never comes. And you keep putting false hopes on that. Because you probably feel, I don't know, that's something I'm still honestly trying to work out, why people still do that. I know that I did it, and I'm starting to do some more self-reflection to figure out what it was that I kept telling myself. But all I knew was that I didn't want to stay where I was anymore. And that's all I remember, because I didn't like how I felt. I was scared as shit to change. I was scared as shit to eat more. I was scared as shit to have more carbs, because I wasn't where I wanted to be yet. And that's how a lot of us feel when we're dieting, when we're deficiting. Like right now, if I'm honest, I'm uncomfortable. Every now and then I'm like, am I even on the right calories? Am I even on the right carbs? Am I eating too much? If anything, if I have to blame anything, it's I could be sleeping better. I could be looking after more lifestyle stuff. But at the same time, it's like it's so easy to question ourselves, because we are always going to be pushing ourselves into discomfort when we're trying to change from our thermostat. And a lot of the time we don't want to be where we are. That's why we choose to change. And a lot of the time we can also be complacent with where we are, like where we are. That's where I am right now. I like where I am. Like, I honestly fucking love where I am right now. It's taken me a long time to get here. But I am uncomfortable as fuck in trying to get better. Because now I'm trying to grow again. And I want to grow in a way that I also feel suits my lifestyle. So I could easily cut back my food and cut back my steps. But I don't find my steps stressful on my mental health, or my body, or my time. And here's another thing when it comes to comparing yourself to other people, is can you realistically do what they're doing? 10,000 steps is a minimum I set. It's the minimum that I reckon anybody should get. Even though in literature it's more around 8, where it starts to hit 7.5, 8. But I honestly think that once you hit 10, 12,000, you're actually in the peak range for it. You don't really need to go over 12,000. I find it easy to, because I have a walking desk, and I highly recommend anyone get a walking desk. I don't always use it, because sometimes I feel I can concentrate better sitting down. But here's the thing that no one talks about. Everybody responds to a calorie deficit differently. The 3,500 calorie rule is bullshit. Bullshit. Don't believe it. You need to cut 300 for this. You need to cut 500 for that. That is bullshit. So is going the opposite direction. You need to add 100, you need to add 200. So is the whole reverse dieting bullshit. That's bullshit too. Reverse dieting, I use that term. But I don't mean increase slowly for your precious metabolism, because that's bullshit too. I have the literature for that. And I'm sure I can even find more literature for that if I looked, because it's plentiful. But our bodies respond differently. Some of us, we tend to move more. So we tend to expend more. So then we can eat more and still expend more. And then we build our bodies on higher calories. Some of us tend to conserve our energies more when we're going down. I don't really know what I'm like that way anymore, because the last time I dieted, I was training for a half marathon. So I had no other choice but to do my runs and to keep active. But when I remember it from when I was dieting, I used to have to cut mine pretty damn low, because my body just didn't want to do anything. I used to be in bed and be like, my mirror is open. I don't want to get up and shut it. Like, I used to do that stuff. Or I used to, like, have my last meal in bed and be like, I cannot be stuffed to take this plate down to the kitchen and wash it. Like, I used to do that stuff. Whereas now, it's just like, I'll just go down and do it. I'll just go shut the mirror. Sometimes when I'm sitting down, I actually get up to get onto my walking treadmill and do work there instead of just sitting down. Because look at me now, I'm so animated. I have so much freaking energy because I'm eating so much food. Like, my body adapts really well both ways from what I remember. And I didn't even mean to do that. Like, last time I forgot to take my watch off, I got like 2,000 steps on the podcast. Like, our bodies do that crazy stuff. Anyway, Long story short, stop comparing yourself to other people. Be realistic on what they did to get to where they are. What was sacrificed in the process, and stop wanting other people's bodies. I was there. It was miserable. I used to send photos to my coach all the time saying, make me look like her. And he used to be like, Ruby, she's taller than you. Ruby, she looks like she weighs like 20 kilos more than you. Ruby, blah, blah, blah. It's like, be realistic about your expectations. Be realistic about how hard it's going to be at first, because it's going to be hard. There's no ifs or buts about that. It is going to be hard. Choose your hard. Because I know that spinning your wheels, staying stuck is taking mental energy, physical energy. It's taking your social health away. It's taking so much away from you. But you tell yourself, oh, I'll be better tomorrow. Oh, I know what's right. I'll just do what's right. If it was right, you would be doing it by now. And we can sometimes do what we think is right until we can't anymore. I believe there is so much value in coaching. Hey, Debs. I believe there is so much value in it. To the point where I'm almost spending half of my own income in my own mentor. Because there is so much value to it. They make us reflect inside of us. They make us better. You need to be willing to reflect inside of you as well. Because if you don't, you're going to keep repeating the same stuff, because it's never about the food. It's never about the training. We do that stuff to enhance our life. There is always a way there. Like, weight loss is never, ever, ever the goal. It's a vehicle to get to the goal. The goal is we want to feel better. We want to have more energy for the kids, for ourselves. We want to have fun again. We want to be happy again. But we got ourselves to a situation without putting fault on yourself. Actually, take the fault. It was your fault. Or it wasn't your fault, actually. The word's responsibility. It wasn't your fault. But now it's your responsibility. It's your responsibility to love yourself enough to want more for yourself. Because the cost of inaction is a lot greater. Speaking of, I'm so surprised that bloody cock-a-doodle-doo is quiet. But, honestly, stop for a moment, breathe, and be real. Where are you at right now, and what is realistic for you to move forward? Because I'm going to post this live so that you can watch it again and save it. Because I'm going to say it one more time. It is uncomfortable to do things that may move us further backwards as our fear, because we don't feel like we are where we want to be at yet. That's why people are still doing excessive cardio. That's why people are still dieting, feeling hungry, miserable, giving up so much of their lives. Because they're scared to change. They're scared to eat more. Because that was me. And I used to be so food obsessed during the day because I didn't trust myself at nighttime. Because I didn't want to feel hungry going to bed. My reasoning was that I wanted to actually enjoy a meal. And with the calories that I gave myself, I could not do that during the day. And I felt like I could only enjoy myself when the day was done. And it was so uncomfortable to trust myself to eat larger meals. So what did I do? I nibbled throughout the day and I didn't eat full meals. I told myself stories and I read things to make me believe those stories, even though I knew better. Like, you can know all the things. I'm telling you right now, you can know all the things and help people get through shit and still not do it yourself. That's why doctors are still overweight. That's why I said this in the last story. That's why researchers that research how to get jacked and shredded don't even look like they lift. You can know the things, but it doesn't mean you're implementing them yourself. A coach provides the checkpoints to help you look within, to help you reflect on that. Something that you also need to be doing with yourself, pausing and allowing yourself to feel the emotions. It is not easy, but you need to realize that if you do slip up one day, if you do overeat 1,000 calories one day, you're not gonna die. The world isn't gonna blow up in flames. It won't. And I was so scared that if I allow myself, I might blow my calories a day and get fat. But that's unrealistic. Like, let's just say that you overate like 1,000 calories one day. If you split that out over the week, that's like 150 calories, which is minuscule. But do that over a long period of time, that's a different story. But the thing is, why were you eating enough? Like, I have been looking at food diaries all the time, and every single time someone thinks that they're eating the right way throughout the day, they are not. They really are not. And then I get the questions. I got this in my email the other day. I'm going to end this soon because it's getting too long, but I got an email the other day saying, I don't know why my metabolism is so slow. I move around all day. I'm a busy mom. I'm on my feet all day. I tried to give a little bit of help there because we were having a little consult. And then once she signed on, I looked at her food diaries. It's really apparent. Like, the fact, like, that when you're writing a food diary and you're in that moment as well, realize that you're not accounting for everything you're eating. You're not going to log all that in. That's why I felt so burdened with tracking. Because I never ate set meals. So I found it a burden to track. And then I felt like food was controlling me. Like, I could have my food all over the place, but if I'm tracking everything, I feel like I'm in control because I'm tracking it. And there's a level of flexibility there as well, and you earn that flexibility. Like, I'm going to do a post soon on the spectrum, because there is either anal tracking, meticulous tracking, obsessive tracking, and then there's diet culture on the other end. There's a healthy middle, and that's what I really want to start teaching, because that's where I'm finally at. And then when you move into a deficit, I will probably move more that way. But I'm probably not going to do that for a very long period of time, because like I was saying, I am uncomfortable as hell moving myself into a surplus right now. And the only reason I can actually eat so much at the same time is because I've allowed myself to with the lifestyle I have now, which I spoke about already, but that's the thing. Compare you to you, know what you are willing to do, and be willing to slow down to speed up. And there's a lady on here that just joined, and she told me that she's finally on 2,700 calories. Whereas when I first started talking to her, she was chasing the scale weight. She was chasing numbers. She was chasing figures. Now, she's stronger than she's ever been. She has a lot more energy in her posts in the group. She's actually looking forward to training now. It's not a slug. She's actually able to pretty much do pull-ups now. I'm very proud of you. But that's taken a while. And all it took was trust. There was no way she could have even imagined being on 2,000 calories feeling as good as she does. I bet you anything. But she trusted. She loves all my podcasts as well, so she realized that it's something that she needed to do. It's an unnecessary evil, and it's kind of funny because she doesn't even look like she's gained any weight, and that's the thing. Like, maintenance doesn't mean you're gaining weight. Building up your maintenance does not mean you're gaining weight. It's called maintenance for a reason. I hate that word because it makes you feel like you're not progressing. And that's why I have a podcast coming up soon on why maintenance is actually where you make your most progress. So allow yourself to be a beginner. Allow yourself to be a novice. Save this live. I'm going to post it once I make it look all pretty, because I always start with a mug face and then that's what it decides to show. But allow yourself to be a beginner. Allow yourself to suck. Allow yourself to be scared, because it's inevitable. And if you don't allow that and realize the world isn't going to implode, you're holding yourself back. And I can tell you that hurts a lot more, especially in retrospect, realizing how much time you wasted. But at the same time, you should never feel guilty for that. You should never blame yourself for that. You just weren't ready. And if you did start when you weren't ready, you wouldn't have the success that you're going to have now starting when you're ready. But you need to allow yourself to get to that place and trust your body. That's the biggest thing I can say. I love both of you. But trust your body. That's the hardest thing you can do. Because a lot of the time, it's not trusting the process. Because systems are systems. A lot of the time, systems are proven to work for so many other people. I saw it. My coach had clients doing the same thing as me. Same body-ish type. I'm like, no. I want that. I want to be able to do that, but I'm fucking scared. What if it doesn't work for me? What if I get worse? What if my body turns into a dinosaur? I don't know what the hell went through my mind. But I eventually built my way up there. I took 2 steps instead of the 1 step there. Actually, no, I lie. I took 3 steps. It took me 3 steps to get my way to where I needed to start, but I got there. And that is what you need to know too. Have the patience to take those steps. I could have been there quicker had I had taken just that big 1 leap, but I needed those 3 steps to build that faith in myself. And I spoke up for those 3 steps. So speak up to yourself, to whatever it is you're doing, whatever pace you need to go at. The whole topic of this live was to stop comparing yourself to other people and how you expect it to be. So slow the fuck down and go at your pace. There is no rush. The more you rush it, the more you'll struggle, the more you'll be starting back at base 1. But albeit, you'll probably be starting back at base 1 with less bricks in your shit case. Shit bricks in your case. I have to tag Sam in this because I did a podcast. I was the guest on this one, so I was talking a little too much. But we always approach a situation with a back pace with shit bricks. They're called shit bricks because it's just the shit we tell ourselves and the shit we went through in our life. And when we approach the ladder, it's just like we like bricks are heavy as shit. And you're climbing up the ladder and it's like the more in your backpack, the more you get held back and the slower you go. The bigger the steps you try to take, the harder it even is, the more shit bricks you have. So every time you do slip back to step 1, if you do slip up, you'll have less shit bricks in your suitcase. So yes, you are starting off at number 1, but if you actually got rid of a shit brick, you're starting off at a better place anyway. But the goal is to just keep moving forward. Even if you slip up, that is still moving forward if you got rid of a shit brick. Because you might not even start all the way at the bottom. You might just slip a little and then regain your grip. Especially if you're going on the smaller rung ladder. Because you probably just slipped a rung. And the rung is only that big versus that big. And above all, make sure the ladder is up against the right wall. Because you don't want to be redoing the whole damn thing. Because faster and harder in the wrong direction just gets you faster and harder to the wrong place. I might have to put this whole rant on a podcast. Because I quite like these analogies. I only think of them when I'm doing lives or podcasts. And then I'm like, I wonder what I said. But yeah. And I like keeping them fun whenever I do these kind of things. Because that's my personality. And I feel like if you don't have fun, and that's why a lot of my reels are funny. Well, I try to make them funny. Because I want you to not feel like this is freaking prison, because it's not. You're making yourself better. Okay. I love you all. And I got one more program to do, and then I get to eat my delicious foods. I love yous.